I want to heat up the cream and then boil it for a solid 5 minutes. You want to really boil it. And then after those 5 minutes, which we just finished up, you turn off the heat. We add lemon juice, or you could really use any sort of acid. So I've done lime, you can do lemon, you could do grapefruit. Here I did about a third cup of fresh squeezed lemon juice. And then what I just added is a really fun ingredient. This is rose water. Anyone who has ever bought rose water, you know it's very, very aromatic and fragrant and floral. It's a little hard to use because if you use too much, your food's gonna taste like soap. So very delicate. It can bring such a beautiful aroma and essence to your food. And today we're kind of doing a spring sort of menu. So I love the combination of lemon and rose water. I add just a teaspoon to this 2 cups of cream, okay? So that's it. This dessert is pretty much done. I've whisked it all together. When you add, this seems like honestly the craziest dessert. I hope one of you try it later, because you take the cream, you boil it for 5 minutes, which feels so wrong, and then you turn it off and you add lemon juice, which is acidic. And as soon as you add that lemon juice and kind of stir it together, it starts to tighten up and almost like curdle, but that's exactly what you want. It's going to tighten up into a custard creamy sort of dessert. It's fabulous, okay? So I'm letting this now sit for a couple minutes and we'll put it in little glasses, and then you chill it for at least an hour and then it will be ready to eat. So in the meantime, while I'm letting this sit for a second, I'm gonna talk a little bit more on the induction, okay? So the induction, anyone who's interested in it, there are a few things that I think really elevate it and make it an extremely positive experience. Anyone who's cooked with induction, you know what I'm talking about. This is, honestly, logically, the most efficient, the easiest to clean, number one, which is why I like to do this crazy dish on the induction, because cream, if you guys can see that, really likes to boil over. Even though I used quite a bit of a larger pot, I'm not scared because this cleans up so easily. After we're done, we'll just wipe this right off, okay? So it's easy to clean. It's so quick. You'll get your water boiling, your cream boiling in probably a quarter of the time you're used to. And it's also very, very precise. So with our induction, the temperature you have it at is the temperature it will be instantaneously. If I want this high and boiling, it happens like this. If you know what, I instantly want to drop it down to a simmer, it happens. This cream, I'm watching it and it's getting a little crazy. I drop it down, it quickly drops down. I put it back up, it quickly comes back up. That is why the induction is so magical and wonderful. It is a very sleek design, so it really plays well with contemporary, more transitional styles. But in terms of functionality, it really is fantastic. One point of advice, you do need pans that are made for the induction, because this is, how it works is kind of through a magnetic field. It's not an electric cooktop. Nobody likes those. This is working through a magnetic field so that the pan itself is becoming the heating source, not the cooktop surface. So none of the cooktop surface is hot except where the pan is touching. I don't really want to touch it that much because it's all dirty. But if I remove the pan, this part cools down very, very quickly. So you need good pans, induction capable, and you will really have an incredible experience with the induction. Okay, so that's pretty much all I need to talk about on induction. If I should have mentioned this before I got started, but the cream was ready to go, so I just had to kind of get going on there. I'm going to show you guys how we plate this up, how we finish this dish. And if you have any questions, this is what I want to mention, at all throughout the entire process, we ask you to type it in the little chat box. We have someone behind the computer who will let me know what the questions are, and I will repeat the question to you and then answer it. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please just type it in the box, let me know. Keep your volumes and your cameras off just so that everyone's able to see and hear me, because sorry, I'm the center of attention for today. Okay, so now I'm gonna get going, and what I'm gonna do, oh, it's like sticking, perfect. I'm gonna take this, and I believe you guys can see our cute little jars. What's really, really fun about this dish is Oh, thank you. What's really fun about this dish is you can, because you've done all the cooking process in here, you can serve them in any containers you can think of. So look at these. We've got these adorable little cocktail glasses, a lot of different variety, and that's going to make your dessert really, really pretty and a little more fun. And then I just gently, as you can see, pour in that gorgeous little custard mixer. So I'm going here, I'll do one right here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and hand this off to Yvonne to finish pouring. And what we'll do, we're going to go ahead and we are going to set these in the fridge, like I said before, for 30 minutes, okay? And once they're set for 30 minutes, or an hour, sorry, I said 30 minutes. I like to set them for at least an hour in the fridge to chill, and then that custard will completely solidify and we'll be ready to have them. So by the end of this class, I'm gonna show you our dessert, okay? So what's gonna happen now, if we don't have any questions on induction, you check the chat box. Okay, what we're gonna do, we are actually going to move stations, okay? Oh, we have a question. Thank you. Okay, we did have a question before I move. The question was, what pots and pans are induction friendly? That's a great question. I will say a few things. You can find induction capable pans kind of anywhere. I mean, from Costco to Williams and Sonoma, you'll find, you just want to make sure they are induction capable. However, I will say I'm a little biased. The Wolf ones are fabulous. Wolf does sell their own induction pans. And the reason they work so well is they're made to go with the induction. They have a very flat surface, which is what you want to look for in an induction pan, because that means more contact surface with the induction, okay? They also, you want them to be really heavy duty. This is 7-ply, meaning there's 7 layers, and that is going to give you a much more even cooking and a much more, I'll say it's a little bit more quiet, because really thin pans, I'll say really cheap pans, they'll make a lot of noise on the induction because they will kind of shake around. So you want heavy and you want it to have a flat surface. Those are like my main tips to look for. But if you can get the Wolf ones, I highly recommend. Okay, so that was the only question, right? Okay, so now what, like I was saying, we are gonna move stations. So we're gonna cover the camera for you. So it's gonna go black for a second. Don't worry, we're still here. Moving the camera, and you guys will see us momentarily in the other kitchen. Okay. Everything is ready to roll. Okay, we're just moving everything over, guys. We are still here, we promise. You'll see us momentarily. Oh, you already see us. Hey. Okay, perfect. Are we good? What are you laughing at? Okay. I guess everything's fine. I can't tell. They're laughing at me behind the screen. So who knows what's really happening? Okay, so we are gonna go ahead and we're gonna jump right into our next dish. Like I said, because this is Chef's Table, we are covering as many of the appliances as I can, so I can show you guys whatever you might be interested in having in your own home. I want to show it here. So I've got to move kind of quickly. So the next thing I'm gonna jump to, also I'm trying to get this done in an hour, so you guys don't have to sit and stare at a screen forever. So next thing we're gonna work on is the steam oven. The convection steam oven, which, everyone, is one of my absolute favorite appliances. I am obsessed with it. This is the appliance that I would say can really elevate people's cooking. It will take good cooks to greatness, and it will take pretty average or even bad cooks to pretty good cooks, okay? So what I'm doing here and what I'm showing is a roasted chicken. Springtime, spring chickens, nothing says spring to me more than a beautiful roasted chicken. The whole thing, it's such a beautiful presentation, a really fun thing to serve to people, and shockingly easy. So I'm gonna walk you through my entire process for a roast chicken. Then I'm gonna show you what I do in the steam oven. And then once it's in, I am gonna talk you through a couple different modes that are available for you on the steam oven, because it's not just a one-trick pony. It can do many different things. So starting off, let's talk about our chicken. So what I've got here, and I'm just kind of showing you guys, this chicken, it's probably hard to see just from looking at the video, but this chicken is dried out. The skin is kind of tight and looks a little leathery. It doesn't look moist. It looks like it's literally been dried out. And guess what? It has. And guess what? That's what we want. In order to have a delicious roast chicken, there are a few certain keys. Number one, seasoned well and seasoned early. Number two, crispy skin. Number three, not overcooked white meat. So we'll say perfectly cooked, okay? The first thing is what I'm gonna tell you what we do. Every time I have roast chicken, no matter what flavor profile I'm going for, the day before, hopefully if you can, 24 hours, but at least the night before, you are going to salt, and if you wanna use black pepper, like we did here, if you want that flavor profile, aggressively, the whole chicken. All over, inside, outside, everything. And I mean, you're gonna use more salt than you think. I use a specific salt personally called Diamond Crystal Kosher Salt. And I use approximately 1 teaspoon per pound of chicken. That's about my ratio for salt to the chicken, okay? So for this 3.5, 4 pound chicken, we used about 4 teaspoons of kosher salt, again, everywhere. It should almost look like it's snowed. And then black pepper, as much as you want. If you love the flavor of fresh cracked black pepper like we do, we use a pretty hefty amount of pepper because we want that sharp, peppery flavor, okay? This then sits on a rack set inside a little pan. This goes straight in your refrigerator. Remember, this is all yesterday, so the night before. Straight in the refrigerator, uncovered, and you just leave it. That is going to do 2 things. Number one, the salt is going to, it's called a dry brine. I don't know why I'm using these. It's actually called a dry brine. So the salt is going to actually get in and penetrate through the chicken and through the skin. And as it does that, it's seasoning and flavoring the chicken all the way through. The pepper can't penetrate. Salt is the only thing that can penetrate through and season things from within. The pepper will stay on the outside, which is flavor that we want. But as the salt gets inside, it actually is going to push water out. And that water is going to start to kind of beat up on the outside of the chicken, which is why we stick it in the fridge uncovered. Because uncovered, that water will evaporate over time. And that is going to help us get a crispy, crispy skin, because water is the enemy of crisping and browning. So we want to evaporate as much water as possible. And that salt is going to season it all the way through. It's going to be concentrated in flavor and extra crispy, crispy skin. So that's what we did. Now, what we're going to do is cook it and prepare it. All I'm doing to this to add a little more flavor is, and also I want you guys to know I'm cooking it on the same rack, and I am not tying the legs together. Personally, I find that you get a slightly more evenly cooked bird if you leave the legs untethered, because the dark meat takes the longest to cook. So by keeping them separated instead of tying the legs like most people do, this makes the dark meat take longer to cook. We want the dark meat to cook faster than the white meat, okay? So now just to add a little flavor, I'm adding a hefty little bunch of dill and thyme, some little orange zest strips I'm showing you. I literally just took a vegetable peeler and peeled strips of orange. That's where all the aroma and flavor of the orange is, so it's really gonna perfume our chicken. And I'm shoving that all inside the chicken's cavity, okay? I've also got a head of garlic that I've halved, and I'm adding that inside as well, because again, I just want to flavor it and give it that sort of perfume and aroma. I don't want to add too much to the outside here. What I am going to add for a little bit of flavor, a little bit of extra browning, I'll say. You don't need to do this part in the steam oven. The steam oven will do it for you, but I am going to add just a touch of olive oil over the surface, and I'm just going to kind of rub it in a little bit, just because I do want that extra flavor. If you don't want to add this, please don't, because the convection steam oven cooks your chicken in such a way that it will brown evenly with or without the oil. In the past, if you've ever tried to roast a chicken in your oven, if you don't add any sort of fat to the outside, it won't brown evenly. It'll be splotchy. In the steam oven, the oil is not necessary, but it does give a nice little flavor, and that's what I'm going for today, okay? So oil is on, everything's inside the chicken. Now we're ready to cook. So what I'm gonna do, I can finally remove my nice little chicken gloves, okay? We are going to use our probe thermometer. If you'll remember, The last part about making sure the chicken is delicious is internal temperature being accurate, because we don't want dry white meat. That's gross. It tastes like chalk. What we want is moist and tender, and we want it to be cooked perfectly. We don't want to be scared that it's undercooked or overcooked. That is where the probe comes into play. So this comes with your steam oven, and we are going to insert it into the steam oven and this side into the chicken. That is how we will know when the chicken is perfect and ready to go. So long pointy side, I actually like to put it in, I'm showing you this, I like to put it in the thickest part of the breast, okay? This, it's a little too big for the thigh, so I don't really like to do that. I like to go ahead and take it, I'm trying to show you guys, is that a good angle? Can you see it well? I wanna make sure they can see how I do this. Okay, so I'm actually putting this in at an angle, starting at this end, and then you're just gonna pierce the chicken and kind of push that probe until it's at that deepest part of the breast, okay? So here's this, it's down inside. I kind of went in at an angle to get right down in there. You don't want it to touch any bones, but you want it really deep in that chicken, because that is the temperature we need to get to, okay? So that's in there. Now I can put this in my steam oven. So last little tip, I like to put those legs towards the back of the oven, because that's where the heating element is. So I do want those thighs to cook a little faster, and by pointing them towards the back, you're gonna get much more aggressive heat right at those legs, okay? You will get a really good circulation throughout. As you'll see, the whole chicken will brown, the legs will just get a slight more concentration of heat, which is what I want, okay? So I put it in this way, we can close up the steam oven, and yes, notice, I did not preheat. The steam oven doesn't need to be preheated on most of the modes. Most foods, you can stick it in before the preheat, okay? We want to use that preheating time to help with the cooking. So what I've done, and are we zoomed in on here? I want everyone to be able to see. Perfect. So what we've got here, this is the home screen of the steam oven, and I just want to let you guys know the steam oven can do so many things, like I said. It can just steam. It can just do high heat convection heat. It can do what I'm using, a combination, convection and steam. So we're going to use this combination mode, which is going to use high heat as well as intermittently throughout the process versus steam. That is going to give us that most beautifully browned, crispy skinned bird while helping the meat to cook through more evenly and actually cook through a little quicker as well. So I'm turning the temperature up. I want to cook this chicken 415. I usually go between 400 and 425 in order to roast a chicken, because I want that high heat to get the browning and the crispiness. But if you go too high, you're going to burn the chicken before the inside is cooked through. So I'm just going to go right here at 415, enter, and then we're going to set that internal temperature. So I'm going to go one place to the left, and you will see it say set food probe temp. I hit enter there, and now the internal temperature of my chicken, I'm actually going to set it at 164 degrees, okay? This is what I like to set it at in my steam oven. It will come out, it will rest, and as it rests, it will continue to rise in temperature until it reaches that perfect 172 degrees that you're looking for in a fully cooked chicken. But you don't want to set the oven temp there, because then it will be overcooked. So between 160 and 165 degrees. Hit enter, and now I can just start the process, all right? I don't have to worry about timing. Okay, I'll zoom out a little bit, perfect. I don't have to worry about timing. I don't have to worry about watching the chicken, because what will happen is the timer will ding, the oven will ding when the internal temperature is reached. So I will know my chicken is perfect. I will know when it's done, and I don't have to stress. And you guys will see how beautiful and brown the whole chicken gets, okay? So that's what we've got here. The last mode, like I said, the steam oven has multiple modes. Like I said, you can steam, and you can do everything from rice, perfectly cooked, beautifully steamed rice, to polenta, to risotto, to hard or soft-boiled eggs. The regular convection can be a regular oven. The convection steam, great for crispy outside, moist inside, whether that's a roast chicken, a roast turkey, or mac and cheese. There is another mode that is great for braising called the convection humid mode. And then there is one of the most popular modes, the reheat. This guy has the ability to bring food back to life. to the point that your microwave will rarely see your face again, because food out of the steam oven the next day just is revived. You can literally reheat rice, fish, chicken, and it tastes delicious. Where you put those things in a microwave and you want to die a little bit, I guess we'll have to say. Okay, so that's our steam oven in a nutshell. I'm sure we have some questions, Ab. Someone asked, is what she's saying also apply to the not steam oven, so the regular convection oven, in terms of the probe? I'll say yes and no. The probe works the same way with the oven, where it will let you know when the internal temperature is reached. However, it's just a slightly different process in terms of the interface of getting to the probe and controlling the temperature. Great question. That's all. Okay, great. So that makes me excited, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this first. What I'm going to do is we're going to be doing two things. Number one, I am going to be using our regular oven, so I'll show you. But before that, I'm going to show you, we're about to get pasta going. So this is my pot of boiling pasta water, okay? I'm going to give you a couple tips with pasta as well to kind of elevate your pasta to the next level, get that glossy, saucy, really delicious tasting pasta. First important factor is buying good pasta. Don't just buy the Costco brand. You want to get something that's really good quality that will make a huge difference in the texture and the bite and the flavor of the pasta. Secondly, get a big pot of boiling water and add a ton of salt, more than you think. This is about a 1/4 cup of salt. Look at all that. Yep, I added all of that, okay? That salt is gonna obviously season our water, and that is how we are going to season our actual pasta. We wanna season from within as well as season the sauce, okay? So salt goes in. I like to add my salt right before I add the pasta. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and, you guys can see this is, we love this pasta brand we use here, but it's a good pasta that's gonna hold up really well once it's cooked, so it will still have that beautiful al dente texture. So I'm adding it all in, and this type of pasta is actually a really fun pasta. It's called frittata, and it looks similar to spaghetti, but it's actually a little more irregular, I guess I'll say, than spaghetti. Spaghetti is extruded through a die. Frittata, how it's made, it actually means, that's all I really want, thank you. It actually means guitar strings in Italian. So what they do is they actually push the pasta dough through an apparatus that kind of looks like guitar strings. And as they push the dough through, out comes the little frittata pastas. So that's the pasta we're using here. I think it has a little bit better texture on the outside. So the pasta sauce will be able to cling a little bit more than it would be able to spaghetti that is a little bit smoother of a surface, okay? It's a little more squared. If you see it, you'll know. So I'm actually just kind of, and no, I do not break my pasta in half. My mom actually used to do that growing up. And then I grew up and I realized that's literally like the worst thing you can do in the world. Don't break your pasta to fit it in the pot. It'll slowly start to just wilt down, and there, we've got it all submerged in the water, okay? So the pasta's going, we will come back to this in approximately 9 to 10 minutes. That's how long it's gonna take to cook. And then we'll assemble our pasta. In the meantime, we're gonna come back to our ovens, okay? So while that's cooking, we're focusing in on the ovens. So what I'm showing here is I'm actually doing 3 trays of different foods, okay? Oh, thank you. We've got, I should have shown you, I'm doing candied walnuts, that went in first. I've got panko breadcrumbs, little toasted panko breadcrumbs that are going to become the topping for our pasta. And then finally, I've got this little pistachio crumble, which is delicious, and that's gonna go on top of our dessert, okay? So 3 different items, 3 trays. I am not going to have to come back to the oven and rotate and adjust or move my different trays around. I can cook 3 trays at the same time, evenly, without any stress. And that's one of the absolute beauties of the Wolf electric ovens. All of the electric ovens that Wolf has have this capability. And what that is straight convection, to the point that you don't need to worry about rotating your trays, that it will cook evenly top to bottom, okay? All of the Wolf convection ovens have 4 heating elements, 1 on top, 1 on bottom, and then 1 in front of each convection fan. Those convection fans, when we're using the straight convection mode, like we are here, those convection modes, the convection fans, those are the only heating elements that are turning on during the straight convection process, okay? So what that means is you don't have any top to bottom uneven heating and cooking. It's all coming from the back, and it's even top to bottom, like I've said 900 times, okay? However, if you have something a little more delicate, or you're using a higher temperature, or you're cooking for a really long time, be aware, like I said, heat's all coming from the back, even top to bottom, however, not quite as even front to back. I only say that to let you know that some foods may need to be rotated this way, just front to back, to get that perfect even cook, okay? I don't have to do it often. I'm not gonna have to do it here with these items because I'm cooking them at a lower temperature of 300 degrees. So I won't need to worry about turning them at all. But if you were cooking something at 400 degrees, you might see a little bit more heat discrepancy, okay? So I'm gonna say there, it is a fabulous convection oven, but you still may need to rotate. So in terms of our convection oven, that is the only mode I'm really gonna jump on today. There are many different modes, which is really neat for this oven because it does help cook certain foods to the best that they can be cooked, okay? So there is a mode called Convection Roast. That's a mode using different heating elements, most from the top, some from the bottom, and some convection fans as well. That's ideal for leaner, quicker cooking cuts of protein, okay? There are different elements that will turn on for each different mode, which is ideal for different foods. That is talked about in depth in our ownership experiences, okay? I'm not gonna talk about that today. We get to have the fun time. Thank you. But on the ownership experiences, that's where you get the answers to how each of those modes works, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and we are gonna move along. No questions? Okay, fabulous. So we are gonna turn the camera a little bit because now I get to talk about our beautiful range here. So we've got the 60-inch range, 6 burners, a griddle, which I will show later, and a char broiler, which means a grill. This is literally like a grill inside your house, okay? This is hot. Like I can barely keep my hand there for 3 seconds. It is really, really hot. It's as hot as your grill can get outside, okay? So what I like to do here, this can be a fabulous, fabulous appliance if you use it correctly. This has one temperature zone, and that's high. It's either high or it's off, okay? Because of that, I like to use this specific appliance, this char broiler, to cook very quick cooking food items. For instance, what I'm doing right now, I'm actually charring up some asparagus. It is spring, like I said, we're really focusing on that spring menu. I really love using seasonal ingredients, and spring is one of the best times of year. It's fleeting, but it has some of the best produce, and you can only get it for like 1 to 2 months of the year. Asparagus is one of those things that is just fantastic in the springtime. So I've been literally having asparagus almost every day this month. So what I'm doing, because like I said, this char is hot, I want to get those grill marks, that beautiful char, that smoky flavor, without overcooking the asparagus. Thank you. That means it's gonna cook in approximately 3 minutes. It's gonna keep that bite, because as soon as you overcook asparagus, they start to get that like soggy, stringy sort of texture. That's not what we're looking for here. All I want that crisp, tender, and I want a little bit of smoky char, which I think it's hard to tell from there, but honestly, I just put these on, right? I'm already seeing a bunch of charring happening. So I keep checking on these. It's gonna take about 3 minutes to get these going, get these done, I should say, not going. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pull them off. We're gonna let them cool for a second, and then we're gonna slice them up to go with our pasta. Now, do we have any questions left in regards to the char? This is really all I'm mentioning on the char. I wanna let you know it's a fabulous appliance. If you love grilling, you love that charred, smoky flavor, but it's best to do kind of hot and fast, not any low and slow cooking, at least at this point, okay? So that's what we've got. I don't think, I'm like looking at the camera because I'm gonna see if you can see. I don't think you really can. There are beautiful char marks on this guy already. So as soon as I get those char marks, like I said, because the texture I'm going for in the asparagus, I'm gonna go ahead, flip them over, give them 30 more seconds, and then I'm gonna pull these asparagus off because that's all they need. A quick kiss of heat from the char, and then they'll be ready. Okay, any questions? Awesome. I'm gonna pull 2 of these off. You can grab them right after, just because I wanna show you guys how I'm then going to cut these asparagus. I think we're gonna move back over here. Yeah, but can I borrow that knife? Thank you. Oh, I had one, whoops. Okay, so Ab, we're coming back over here. So I do wanna show you how I finish these off. We're here to see a lot of food today, so I'm making sure we do that. Can you see that asparagus? I'm gonna show you guys how I cut these, okay? I'm going to cut these on what I call the bias. So that means, I think this really elevates food in such a simple way. But instead of just cutting these asparagus into little chunks, I'm actually gonna take them, and when I say cut on the bias, what that means is at an angle. So I don't know if you can see this, I wanted to show you, but I'm slicing the asparagus in a way that they end up looking like this. You guys see that? They're kind of thin, they've got a beautiful shape to them, and they're much more pleasant to bite and eat in what we're doing right now, in a pasta, okay? So that's what we do with the asparagus. I slice them on the bias, nice and thin, but those are gonna be ready to go in with our pasta, okay? So I'm gonna move these out of the way. Let's pull all those off now, thank you. All right, so Yvonne's gonna finish up those asparagus for me, pull them off, slice them up, and then they'll be ready to go with our pasta, which is getting close to being done. Do you know what we are on time? 2 seconds. That's what I thought, I felt it. Okay, so what I'm doing right now, this looks really good. I'm pulling one of these little pastas to test and taste to see if we're al dente, okay? This is probably burning hot for most people, so just be careful. Okay, it does need approximately 2 more minutes. You want it to have a little bit of bite still, but that's a little too crunchy. So I'm giving that another minute, maybe, because I do want it to be al dente so that I can finish cooking it in my sauce. And what I'm doing for the sauce, this is one of the simplest but most delicious pastas you can do. I've got that oil in here, okay? So this is a bunch of oil, olive oil, beautiful olive oil. And what I'm gonna do is I'm taking a lemon, taking that vegetable peeler, and I am just peeling a couple slices of that right into the oil. It's gonna start sizzling right away. This is gonna take about a minute. Then I'm taking a bunch of garlic cloves, and I am not going to chop them or slice them. I'm literally just smashing, peeling, and throwing in to the oil, because I am going to kind of infuse this garlicky flavor into the oil, which is then gonna become our sauce, but I don't want it to be overwhelmingly garlic. So by smashing the cloves, you're kind of releasing that garlicky flavor and aroma, the allicin, as it's actually technically called. And we are just gonna get that to kind of lightly infuse into the oil so you get that flavor of garlic, but you aren't overwhelmed by garlic. This is a delicate, light sauce where we want the lemon to be the true star, okay? So I've got those all in, and that's as soon as everything becomes aromatic, which is like pretty much right now, I turn the heat off, okay? Heat is off. What's beautiful about this sauce is, you can throw all those pieces away, it's pretty much ready, and the pasta's ready. It all happens right then and there, and you guys are gonna see how we finish this, okay? So, oh, it smells so good in here, garlic and lemon. Okay, what I've got here, basil, fresh, gorgeous, huge basil leaves that also smell like incredible. And you guys can see the basil has a lot of water, so it does kind of splatter a bit. When you put it in, the heat is off now. I've got red pepper flakes. Depending how spicy you like things, half teaspoon to a teaspoon. We like it spicy in here, so I did do a full teaspoon. And now the sauce is literally ready for the pasta. What I'm doing is pulling out a bunch of that pasta water. And this is going straight into the oil, okay? This is how you make a saucy, glossy, beautiful pasta dish. And I'm not gonna lie, it's quite exciting. So we've got all that pasta in there. I've just transferred it over with tongs because I think it's easier. And we want to use that salty pasta water transferred with the pasta because that's gonna help us create that gorgeous sauce, okay? So now heat is going back on. This is how we make a sauce out of almost nothing. Sauce is pasta, olive oil. What I'm doing right now, cooking and tossing. We're gonna add that starchy pasta water, about a cup of it, which you're like, that is crazy, that's so much, but that's where the sauce comes from, okay? So I'm tossing, 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 and you will just heat this. I want it on high now, until that sauce thickens up with the starchy pasta, and it kind of creates an emulsification with the oil. We're tossing, tossing, and as soon as it thickens up, you will literally see it start to coat the pasta. We're pretty much done. So this is what we do. Do we have any questions so far about exciting pasta making? It's quite full of action, I must say. All right, I'm still going. We've only lost one noodle so far, but I can already see that sauce thickening up beautifully. And because I salted the pasta water generously, I shouldn't need to add salt to my actual sauce. I will taste it and see, but at this point, I'm feeling good about this. Oh, it's already starting to coat the pasta. It's becoming a gorgeous, glossy sauce, and I wish all of you could be here to see it and to smell it in here. It's the simple ingredients that just create, honestly, the best dish. So that's going. Now I'm actually adding a bunch of lemon juice. This is juice from 2 lemons, and I'm gonna tell you, they were so juicy. We got a lot of juice out of that. I will say we got more juice than we're usually used to, but I went with it because I love a lemony pasta. So now that's in. I'm still cooking. This is why you want an al dente pasta, because you finish cooking that pasta in the sauce. And since we do that, the pasta is actually going to be able to absorb those flavors. Gorgeous. All right. Love being where this is at. I wish we had like a top-down view of this, because really all you guys can see is this crazy lady stirring, like my life depends on it, but it's literally there. Thickened, lemony, gorgeous, glossy sauce. Finish this off. I'm going to turn the heat off, and there's one more thing I'm going to add to give us a little bit more of a creamy sort of sauce, but I like to do this off the heat, okay? So what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to plop this. Gotta put a heating pad down. I'm going to plop this on here because I do want this off the heat. To finish this off, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add some Parmesan cheese, Parmigiano Reggiano, the good stuff. Do not skimp here, people. You need the really good stuff, the true Parmesan cheese. And now I'm continually, just like I was before, aggressively stirring. And that melts that Parmesan right into the pasta sauce. And that's going to create a creamy sauce without adding any cream or butter. Okay? Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I'm sorry to everyone who can't be here. Us 3 are going to have a really nice lunch. Okay. I wish, you know, the camera, you can't really tell, but it's a creamy emulsified sauce. Last step, those asparagus that we charred up, all nice and done. I'm just going to toss those in. It's going to give us a little bite, texture, and spring flavor. But here I'm just gently now tossing it all together, and we are ready to plate this up. That is, everyone, how you really make pasta. I'm going to tell you. Pasta is my heart food. It speaks to my soul. Can you tell in the video how creamy that is? Oh, You can't, but just trust me. Okay, so pasta is gorgeous. It's ready. We've got a fun little pasta plate. I do like to show you how to plate pasta because this can be kind of fun. So what you're gonna do, I actually like to grab like a bunch of pasta, plop it right in the middle, and you kind of turn the plate while holding that pasta, and you will get a gorgeous little pasta nest, okay? So we've got a pasta nest right there, right there on the plate. I'm actually gonna snag a couple of these little asparagus, a little more, because I want a little more of that fresh, crunchy brightness. The lucky people can get those little cloves of garlic. Here in the showroom, we enjoy those. If you're scared, just don't eat it. And I'm also gonna grab one of those beautiful little lemon peels because it's so gorgeous. I've got a basil leaf, that pretty little lemon peel, and then to finish off our pasta, I actually have some of those breadcrumbs toasted from earlier. Ours is still cooking. This is from earlier, and I love chopping pasta with crunchy breadcrumbs. It will change your life. That's a little panko. That is our lemon pasta with asparagus. And you know what? The video is just not doing it justice, but trust us, our mouths will do it justice. All right, so that's our pasta. Any questions on getting that pasta done? Oh my gosh, that sauce. I want to stop the class now just so I can eat it. Oh, thank you. Oh, Yvonne's checking actually on. Those look gorgeous. She pulled those out. The panko looks stunning. Our crumble is also close. Since these were 3 different foods, they will come out at different times. Let's toss these walnuts a little, get them broken up. I want to show you guys, these are our candied spicy walnuts. We actually are going to kind of break these up a little bit and toss them and then put them back in the oven. That probably needs longer. And our crumble needs a bit longer too. But the breadcrumbs came out almost right when I needed them. All right. Oh, you know what else? Sprinkle a little bit extra parm on your pasta. I don't know why I'm doing that because now I just really want to eat it. Okay. Do you guys like me? Because do you love me enough that you don't care if I have a bite of pasta right now? I literally can't not. We have to. We're pausing the class. It's gorgeous, but we have to ungorgeous it because this needs to go in my belly. It's too good. It's my favorite food. It's my favorite food. Oh, okay. I feel so much better. I can continue the class now. I'm gonna set this aside out of my face so that I don't keep eating it. Yvonne, you can eat that. Okay. Wow. You should all make that. Just trust me. All right. So that's our pasta. I really went to lengths to show you how to really make a gorgeous, glossy, saucy pasta. That's how you're supposed to do it. Okay. So now I'm going to actually jump along to the dish we're going to serve with our chicken. So I'm moving things out a little bit, just kind of organizing a touch. Done. I'm going to go ahead and move this pot of pasta water out of the way so things are a little bit more succinct. We can just like dump that. Okay, great. That's all we need to do. And now wipe up my work area. It's like covered in saucy pasta, which is not a bad thing. Perfect. So now that we've got that done, guys, this pasta, I have to move this. It's seriously just tempting me too much. Yvonne, take that away from me. Okay, now I can move on to the next dish. So this is what we are going to actually serve our roasted chicken atop. It is a beautiful Radicchio salad. So anyone who's ever used Radicchio, it's a bitter lettuce. I'll say it has a little more texture, but it is quite bitter. If you like bitter flavors like I do, you would love Radicchio. If you don't, use something like a cabbage or something a little more mild. You could even go ahead and use romaine lettuce if you wanted, but I find that the bitterness plays off really well the dressing that I'm about to show you, and it also gives you a little more variation in texture and flavor. So up to you, pick your own poison. I love Radicchio, but you don't have to, okay? You can choose what you want. My husband hates Radicchio, that's why I say that. But he doesn't like bitter flavors, so he doesn't know. So we're gonna work on the salad in a moment. First things first, I'm actually going to show you how to quick pickle fennel. Who here? No one's here. Never mind. I was gonna ask if anyone here has ever had fennel or cooked with fennel or anything. So this is probably my favorite vegetable. I love it. These are the leafy greens, the top of the fennel, and then there sits a bulb underneath. You can see I've already actually cut the bulb into beautiful thin slices, okay? So this is what I did. I cut it, cored it, and then sliced it into thin pieces. I saved the top because I do want to use these little leafy greens in my salad. They have flavor themselves and they have texture, and on top of that, they're just really pretty. So these are a fun thing that you can add to whatever dish you are using the fennel in. I've added some of that in there. Now I'll set these aside. I don't want to throw it away quite yet. It's just so pretty. It's like a bouquet. Should I get remarried and just carry these down the aisle? What do you think? No. That I would be so the most beautiful bride. Okay, so that's our fennel. How we are going to quick pickle this. Fennel is delicious raw on its own. It's delicious roasted. It's delicious sauteed. It is delicious pickled. I think that's one of my favorite ways to have it. And so what I'm showing you is how easy it is to pickle something yourself. You don't need to buy pickles from the store. You could do this with almost any crunchy vegetable. Here we're using fennel. I love it. It gets kind of sweet. It has this anisey, licoricey sort of flavor. And so what we're going to do, honestly, this is the simplest pickle. I'm giving you so many good tips. This is a rice vinegar. It's a seasoned rice vinegar. So it already has a little bit of sweetness and saltiness to it. I love that because I'm going to have to do almost nothing else to these fennel. Okay. So I'm going to take the vinegar and I'm just going to pour, and as you can see, measurements, not that important. That's probably about a third cup. Just kind of enough, I can tell. It's not going to cover the whole thing. That's fine. You would have to use a lot of vinegar if I did that, but enough that it's actually going to coat them all. I'm going to now add just a little bit of salt, not too much, because that vinegar already has a little bit of salt, but this is what we do now. We scrunch, okay? So I'm going through and I am scrunching that fennel with my hands. It sort of starts to soften the fennel and I'm tossing it so that each piece of fennel is coated in that vinegar. Scrunching, scrunching, that helps to break down the cell walls and allow the vinegar to get inside, okay? So that's all you have to do for a quick pickle. I am serious. And your fennel is gonna be like light years better than raw, even though raw is still good. Hey, I would still eat it myself, but this is a really, really delicious application. I can feel them start to soften up and a little bit of their water has come out, which means now they're all just about submerged in that vinegar fennel liquid. Done, okay? That is going off to the side. I like to let this sit for at least, I lost all my cloths. You grab me a rag whenever you have time. I'm gonna set this aside. I like to let this sit for at least 15, 30 minutes if you can, which is actually gonna be perfect for our application, okay? So I'm gonna set that aside and we will use it for our salad, which I'm gonna show you now. I was gonna say I'm smelling them, they smell fantastic. I can smell the buttery crumble and the sweet walnuts. And I'm actually gonna rinse my hands real quick and then I promise I will be back. Okay. So the next step here, oh, Yvonne's grabbing those. Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna jump out of the way for her. I know. Abby just had a bite of the pasta, you guys. She just looked at me like life is good. And I said, I know, because it is. I wish you all could be here to taste the pasta. It's my favorite. Okay, so we're good. Cleaned up, organized. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make that salad, like I said, that we're gonna serve the chicken on top of. So first things first, we've got the radicchio. I kind of tore it into bite-size-ish pieces. And there's also a bunch of dill, which is my favorite herb. I think it's so underused, but it's so good. And it's also reminds me of spring, which is everything we're doing today. So I got dill and I actually kind of tore it up with my hands. I don't like to chop it. I like leafy, big pieces of herbs in my food. Like I want to see it and taste it and know that it's there. So it's just like pretty. So I've got little pieces of dill all throughout. And now I'm going to show you a cool little trick. So this is an orange. I'm telling you that because in the screen it looks like a lemon. But it is an orange, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to slice the top and bottom off. I'm going to show you guys how to segment, or as it's called in the restaurant, supreme, this orange. Okay, so top and bottom, lop them off. And then I'm going to go around the edge and just cut off all of the white, pithy skin. So what we'll end up with is a beautiful little naked orange. That's what we want. You want to make sure all that white is gone because it is bitter and also kind of doesn't have the best texture. It's a little fibrous. But now our orange is ready. And you know what? There's a little extra juice on these. I like to use everything. So I'm squeezing some of that juice right into our salad because why not? Okay, great. So orange is ready. Now this is the important part. Let's zoom in so they can see what I'm doing. So we've got our little naked orange, okay? He looks lovely. You want to just like bite into it, honestly. What we're gonna do though is, oh, I think you can kind of see it. That's great. So in between, you can literally see the segments of orange. You can see the little skin, the little membrane, and then you can see the orange little segments, okay? I'm going to use my knife to cut in between those membranes and pop out a beautiful little orange jewel, okay? That is how we supreme. So I'm gonna do that with every single piece of orange. Again, just in between each membrane, and you are going to have the most enjoyable eating experience you've ever had with an orange. I will tell you that. None of that annoying, weird, white pith, none of that stuff getting stuck in your teeth. I'm telling you, this is the best way to eat an orange. Also, if you like grapefruit, this is the best way to eat a grapefruit. All right, there we go. I've done the whole orange. I like to squeeze the extra juice in because, like I said, waste not. All right, so juice is in. That's our salad. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna show you the dressing, and I'm checking our chicken. The internal temperature, the steam oven will let you know what it's at always. The internal temperature is at 96 degrees. So it obviously has quite a bit to go. Luckily, I have one that I roasted a bit earlier. So don't worry, I'm not gonna keep you here for another hour. But I'm gonna show you this dressing and how we finish it off, okay? So in this little pan, I have a reduction of orange juice. I added a bunch of orange juice, some champagne vinegar, and just a touch of honey for sweetness. With that bitter radicchio, you do want to have a little bit of a sweeter dressing. So this is reduced down, and then I added some lemon juice, so it still has that nice tangy acidity. And then just in the pan, because I can, I'm gonna add my oil, slowly, whisking the whole time. And this is going to be our vinaigrette dressing for the salad. And with the extras, you can dip your chicken in it, and it's delicious, okay? So I am whisking constantly, slowly adding drops of oil, which is giving me a beautiful, woo, almost fell. Everything's fine, everyone. A beautiful emulsification, which is holding the oil droplets within those orange vinegary droplets. So it's one beautiful mixture, okay? So this is looking great. I'm just whisking, and I'm gonna go ahead and taste this and then add my seasoning now and see if I need any more oil, because I didn't measure that. I just kind of went for it. Such a beautiful sauce. Okay, and then it does need 2 big pinches of salt. Here, I don't want to add any pepper. I don't want to add, pepper has such a strong flavor, which I love, but in this case, I'm not looking for that exact flavor profile. I'm gonna use the other side of the spoon to taste again. But salt did everything I needed it to. So that is our dressing. I know you couldn't see it, but can you guys kind of like see that beautiful, it's slightly thick and glossy and glazy. It's honestly the perfect sauce and dressing. So I'm drizzling some over, and then I'm gonna save a little bit for our chicken. I don't want to overdress my salad, but here now I'm gonna go ahead and grab, oh, that looks so good. Go ahead and grab a pair of tongs again, toss this up, and you guys can see that is gonna be our base for our chicken. Ooh, you know what else? Surprise, surprise, I like to season every layer. I am going to salt the actual salad itself as well. Just one nice pinch will do it, and that will just kind of make sure everything, the salad and the dressing, is beautifully seasoned. Again, this is one of those things where I wish you could see it in person because the colors are just stunning. On our little camera, it's not doing it justice, but at least you guys have an idea of this electric purple, that beautiful orange, the green dill. It is truly a lovely salad. And I can set that aside now. And we're gonna plate that up, like I said, with the chicken that we've already done. Our other guy might not quite be finished, but you'll be able to see a chicken that we did about an hour or so ago. In the meantime, I'm doing our last dish on our griddle. So, the griddle, truly a thing of beauty. I'm gonna grab, can I borrow one of your pair of tongs? I don't wanna make you, yeah? Okay, because that you can use the chicken for that. Perfect. So, the griddle. Another thing that I love with my whole soul, we are going to use this. You can use this for anything. So our griddle is like a giant cast iron skillet. That's really the best way I can use to describe it, because what you get is a beautiful, clean, flat, wide open cooking surface that will give you high heats, hot enough to sear, low heats, enough to just keep warm, and everything in between. And every part of this griddle, edge to edge, corner to corner, is completely evenly the same temperature. There is no variation. There is no hot spots, cold spots. The whole thing is fabulous. And this is a material of cold rolled steel. It's 1/2 inch thick. It's heavy duty. That cold rolled steel means that it can absorb oil, just like cast iron. So we will season it. And as we season it, it will continually get better. You don't need to really ever clean it. We use a bench scraper when we're done to just scrape off any extra gunk right into here, this little bottom tray. This pops out and you can clean that. And we'll just wipe off any excess oil, okay? That is the griddle. Like I said, you look at this and you're like, oh, what a beautiful pancake maker. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I can tell you it makes some great pancakes, but it does so much other things. What I'm doing is a giant pile of sauteed radishes. And I'm guessing most of you out there probably haven't tried cooking your radishes before. I don't believe this is well enough known in the world because this is such a beautiful way to eat radishes. I am tossing them in about 3 tablespoons of butter. And this is 2 big bunches of radishes. And I've quartered them. If they were smaller, I halved them. Again, this is another food that is springtime to me. Radishes sing spring. Okay, oh, I lost one in there. So I'm just tossing them around, melted the butter, and now that they're all kind of evenly tossed around, I'm going to season with salt. Actually, I'm probably gonna wait a second. I'm not gonna touch these for a minute. What I wanna do is I wanna allow these to kind of build up a little bit of a crust, a char. And because, like I said, you guys can kind of get an idea from this angle of the camera, but I've just got a whole tray of radishes basically evenly spaced out. They're each getting contact with the griddle. So they're each allowed to start to kind of sear and brown. And what I'm going down now and doing, because again, I've got this on full heat, so it's full searing power, full steam ahead. I'm actually just kind of flipping those radishes to cut side because I want to get that gorgeous caramelized color. The ones that I'm flipping already have a gorgeous browning going on. I'm gonna have to like pull one up and this is another one of those times where I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it from your angle, but I want you to because it's a little bit life-changing. Once you know about charring radishes and once you see me do this simply on the griddle. Okay, let's see if they can see this because I'm gonna tell you right now, that's a looker. Can you see that browned? I don't know if you can really tell. You've got a browned, crispy, golden brown side. And I am very excited about it. So I'm just kind of letting these do their thing now because I want to get a nice sear. And then, let me see. Check. Oh, you guys, it smells delicious. It smells like buttery, radishy goodness. For those who dislike radishes or think they dislike radishes, try this. And then call me if I'm wrong, because this will change a radish lover, or a radish hater to a radish lover. I'm gonna tell you right now. So honestly, these look gorgeous, and the colors, such a fun side dish, okay? So I'm letting those go. The griddle, like I said, even heat, so easy to use, so fun to use. Anything from sauteing vegetables, whether it be radishes like I'm showing here, to maybe searing off sweet potatoes that you've sliced in half, making crispy potatoes, hash browns, to whole sides of salmon, to smash burgers, to quesadillas. There's so much you can do with this griddle. I am telling you, it's worth looking into. Now, we're gonna finish these off. They're just about done. I'm gonna add some bacon that I actually crisped up earlier. And if I were doing this all in front of you, I didn't wanna make you sit here forever. What I did is I cut the bacon, thick cut bacon, into little lardons is what they're called, but it's literally just like inch thick little strips of bacon, I guess. So they're like this big, tiny guys. And then I cooked them up, rendered them down so all the fat comes out and they get crispy. And then I add the radishes. Now I can add that bacon back in so it gets nice and hot and crispy again. And that bacony flavor is gonna kind of infuse into the radishes. It's such a good combo. And then I love to show you this as well. This is all the radish tops. Did you know that you can eat these? Did you know that you should not throw these away? The radish greens have that same sort of bitter, spicy radish flavor, but in green form, and they are healthy. And once we wilt these down, you do need to clean them fairly well. That's why they're in a salad spinner, because radishes, as I'm sure you know, can be a bit dirty, but they will wilt down and add a gorgeous green flavor, and I'm not gonna lie, a lot of healthiness to it as well. Now, as I toss the greens in, this will take about 30 seconds for them to wilt. I have to show you how incredibly these radishes have turned out. I'm gonna burn my finger, but I must show you. Can you see that brown, crispy edge? It's unbelievable. That is how you want to eat a radish. Let me just tell you. All right, so tossing these around. And the final thing that I'm going to do now, I'm gonna season with salt. These are about to come off my griddle. And a little mixture of apple cider vinegar and a tiny pinch of sugar, because that's gonna help tame, like I said, radishes are bitter. They're much more mild when you cook them, but then a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of acidity is gonna bring these to life in a way that you probably aren't quite ready for, but it's delicious. All right, these are done. The vinegar mixture's on. I can pull all of this off. So now you just go ahead, grab that mixture of radishes and greens and bacon, and you pile it up on a plate. And this, it's not only a unique side dish, but it's really, really good. You'll surprise your guests because they're like, whoa, those are cooked radishes. They're delicious, and they're beautiful. If you can find all the multicolored radishes, I'm gonna tell you right now, you have to make this dish, okay? The pasta is number one. The radishes are number two. It's all pretty delicious. I mean, the chicken's really, really good too. I know, because we kind of started snacking on the one I already made, but this is a unique, fun way to eat something that maybe you've had in the past, but I'm sure you've never had it this way. Okay, gorgeous. You can kind of see that. Again, you can't really see the brightness. Everything on this camera looks dull. This is bright. Oh, you're gonna zoom in. Should I move it right here? Okay, I want you guys to see how this finishes up. Gorgeous radishes. You know what? I should probably give this one a taste too, just for you guys. And this has a beautiful little crispy side. I'm gonna snag a little bacon, a little bit of that radish green, and then a little radish. I'm obsessed with this dish. It is so good. Please go home and make it. I mean, you're already home. Please make it. All right, so that's our radishes. We're actually finishing up our entire meal now. So, well, we kind of set up what we would serve a family. We'll say, I'm gonna show you how I finish the dessert. and we'll get this all lined up. What I've got here, this is the beautiful chilled little Posset. Remember, this is our dessert. It's like a custard. It's just cooked cream with lemon juice, a little rose water. It's beautiful. To finish this off, remember that pistachio crumble that we were just cooking and Yvonne took it out? It smells like buttery, nutty goodness. Okay, we're gonna actually top now our little custards. And I know there's some of you out there who are like, I would like more topping and less custard. I see you, I hear you, I love you, do it. Use as much of the crumble as you like, okay? But I'm just doing a little bit here kind of to show you some variations. Like do it off on the side. You can do some where it's like the whole top is all nice and crumbly. And then maybe there's some of you out there who are like, I don't even like crumble. You are crazy, but hey, that's okay. To each their own. All right, so we've got our beautiful crumble. And isn't this fun to do this dessert in all these different sized cups? And then if you want, we've got some gorgeous little strawberries you can top with. The flavor is, it's just for a nice little pop of red, but I will say, you almost don't need them for flavor because this just has so much on its own. I love that one, that's a really cute one. All right, and I'm picking and choosing my favorite strawberries because that's the kind of person I am, because I can. Lovely. And this one's gonna get 2. All right, what I'm gonna do, you guys are gonna see our lovely little meal, okay? I think we ate all our pastas. You don't get to see those again, because as we should. We need to eat them hot and fresh, okay? So what we've got, this is our radish. Should we pick up the camera or do you think it's too wiggly? But we really want to show you how this chicken especially turned out. This is our whole meal, all done on the beautiful Wolf appliances. Our roast chicken, you guys can see, look at that. That's the beautiful salad with the roast chicken that I carved earlier. Looks gorgeous. Yvonne organized that. I must say it's flawless. And then we serve it alongside these beautiful radishes. The first dish was, of course, the pasta that we all enjoyed without you. And then for dessert, we've got these gorgeous little lemon rose possets. So that is our chef's table spring awakening for today. Thank you guys all for joining. Do we have any more questions? If you do, know that we are all always here for you. If you are local to Salt Lake City, we'd love to see you in our showroom. Come visit us, email us, call us if you have questions. If you're local to a different showroom, we have anyone in those locations, the chefs, the consultants are happy to help. We will be sending you our recipes for the day. And are we sending you anything else? Just the recipes, right? We'll be sending you our recipes. What? Oh, thank you. That is what I was forgetting. And for those of you who are really interested in learning more about cooking or the appliances, how to use them, the focus on why the Wolf appliances are so amazing, we actually, Roth Living has its own YouTube channel that we've started, and we have done quite a few dishes there that you can turn to continually to learn and try new recipes. And I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much. We cannot wait to dive into this. As you can see, like my insides are just floating with joy. So I'm gonna say goodbye now. Thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.